What's going on YouTube? It's Orlando with Mobile Max Car Audio, and today I want to talk to you about some of the products that we offer and what you can do with them. We offer a variety of products for your Acura TL to help you replace your radio, help you add an aftermarket amp, help you add that sub display that you can see your climate controls in. We're also working on some products to help you convert a navigation car to a navigation car, and then also allowing you to switch the climate control display from a 2007, 2008 over to a 2004, 2005. A lot of people seem to like this one better. There are some hiccups there, but those products are in review / the lab. The products that we have out right now is what I want to talk to you about. So the first one we're going to talk about is the DIY combos, we'll call them. So those are these guys. These are your traditional harness that you would buy from any retailer, Metra, whoever. They come with the wires unterminated, meaning you're going to have to strip these back, tie them together to your aftermarket radio harness, and develop a complete harness yourself. And then for the 2004, 2005, 2006 Acura TLs, they have this connector, they have this connector back there, and then they also have the XM connector, which is white. And a lot of people ask, oh, well, what is this for? That's for your factory XM. When you hook up an aftermarket radio, it doesn't work, so you don't use it. Something that's unique to our connectors is really haven't found anyone else on the market who sells this, but for the standard 20 pin that you can get from anyone, make sure whoever you buy from gives you RCAs for your speaker connections, because this car, the Acura TL has a factory amp. And then something we do on these to make installation easier is we have the steering wheel control ground also hooked up to our ground, and then we give you this gray wire which is labeled SWC, steering wheel control. This is the steering wheel control positive, so you don't have to wire tap any of the wires of the vehicle. You can get to them all here and add your steering wheel controls. And then on here you have that resistor you need to keep your navigation touchscreen working. Whether you have navigation or not, we always include this. And then you have your factory amp turn on lead, and then your subwoofer. Also on this plug that we don't ship because no radio has it is the center channel input, which would be right over here on these last two ends. But again, no radio has a center channel output, so we don't include it. We recommend you disconnect that center channel when you install an aftermarket radio. But that's product one, is this DIY combo. This is for 04, 05, 06, and then when you have a 2007, 2008, the connectors actually change. So now you don't have a traditional antenna, you have this antenna connector that's going to need power, and then you have this 40 pin connector, which again has your sub RCA, that resistor you need to keep your navigation working, and then your amp turn on lead. Then again, the 20 pin stays the same. We just actually unpin this blue wire, so this blue wire will be missing. This is the amp turn. This blue wire will be missing. This is the antenna power for 04, 05, 06. So this is the antenna power for 05, for 2004 to a 2006. On the 2007s, 2008s, this pin is empty because your antenna power moves over to this harness. Again, this is a DIY combo, is referred to on our site, and this again unterminated. You have to do the wiring. It's all color matching. You're going to match your blues to your blue white or your blue, red to red, yellow to yellow, orange to orange, black to black, etc. The only thing that might be a little tricky for someone is the steering wheel controls, but other than that, it's very easy to install, very easy to work with. Along with these DIY harnesses, we also have plug and play solutions. So let me show you what that will look like. So here's a Pioneer plug and play harness. So on here, let me go out for the 2004 first. So on here we have that same two connectors I showed you before, only this time they're fully wired and terminated to a Pioneer connector. This is for an AVH, AVIC, most modern Pioneer connections. And then we also give you 3 wires that are loose. These are dependent on your radio, but the purple white is going to be your backup camera trigger. So if you feed this 12 volts, it'll auto switch your radio to the backup source. Here is your parking brake, which is your green, and here's your pink, which is your vehicle speed sensor, but less and less Pioneers tend to have this now, but we still include it. Then on here you also have, come on buddy, on here along with the Pioneer connector, you have a connection for the Access Steering Wheel Control Module, which is the ASWC1, and we provide the same connection that would come with that module, so it allows you to just plug the module in and have it easily be programmed into the vehicle without having to do any extra wiring. That's a big plus because not a lot of people need steering wheel controls or want them right away, but then they end up missing them, so to add them later on it's very easy. And if you have a module yourself from another installation, you can easily add it to the harness. It's, you know, plug and play. This is what's on our website known as a plug and play solution. We also carry it for the 07, 08s. We also do custom harnesses. So these are terminated to be Pioneer ends, but we can put any end on here. So we can do Kenwoods, we can do Alpines. We also do some Android radios, but they tend to use like these connectors at the end tend to be very strange sometimes. So we don't always stock those, but there are definitely custom options available. So if you're struggling to put something together, give us a call, send us a message. We can help you out and get something, you know, fully plug and play for you. Now that we talked about the harnesses, here are the connectors. So if you're still a little confused on to what is what,
hello, please say your command.
Okay. If you're a little confused into what is what, here are the connectors that are in your vehicle that you will interface with. So sometimes this one is cut or this one is cut. They usually tend to leave this one alone, but they will cut these two. So just to give you some reference, if yours is cut and you don't really necessarily need one of our products, you can just, this is your amp turn on. It's going to be red with a yellow wire. It's the same color here. And then your subwoofer is going to be this blue, white, green, blue, red, and green, white. And they actually keep the colors the same across both harnesses. So it's just a different location, same colors. And then if you want to add your resistor, it's going to be on the end here, and here it's going to be in the middle between this blue and pink. But again, please don't cut the connectors in your vehicle. There are plug and play solutions. You don't need to, you know, butcher these guys. And then usually this one they leave alone. But if they do cut this one, you can actually find this connector. Metra sells it, and you can basically re-terminate it so it's not cut anymore. Sometimes you stumble across these because you're not getting sound, or you're having an issue with your radio, your navigation's not working. That's, people usually find these that way and buy these for that reason. They're going to redo their install because something was wrong with the equipment they originally used. If you are a first-time buyer, you're going to do this yourself, or maybe you're a car audio guy and you're just looking for the convenience of finding all the parts in one place, we actually sell everything else you would need. So if you're looking for a single DIN kit, which is the 957815B, we sell the single DIN kit. If you're looking for the double DIN kit, which is the Metros 997815B, we sell that as well. And here's kind of what they look like. So I know on the camera far away you might not be able to see, but on the GoPro, here's the pocket for the single DIN, and then here's, you know, if you don't use a single DIN, you just have this cut out. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is probably our most popular setup, not with the single DIN, but I'm talking about a 2004, 2005, you know, standard known navigation, and then an aftermarket radio, which would go right here. Now for your aftermarket radio, any aftermarket radio that you install into your Acura TL is going to need to have these 6 RCA ports. If you don't have these, you can use a line out converter, but I suggest just finding a radio with the 6 RCA ports. They have single DINs that have them, have double DINs that have them. This is a Pioneer AVH 211EX. So this is your entry model Pioneer touchscreen radio, but most of these, even though they're entry level, when they have a touchscreen, they have the 6 RCAs. Your non-touchscreen ones are the ones you really have to look out for.
Please say your command.
The non-touchscreen ones are the ones you really have to look at the back to verify, because a lot of them will only have 4, or if not, you see oh, there's 6 RCAs in total, but only 4 do audio. So you want to make sure you have front, rear, and sub RCAs. Again, if you stick with a name brand radio that has a touchscreen, most of the time they're going to have it. If you go for a higher end non-touchscreen, radio, it's going to have it as well. It's really when you get into those Amazon, eBay, weird Android radios that you're going to have that issue where they're not going to have those RCA ports. Now, with most modern radios, you're going to need parking brake bypass, so we stock these as well. You can add them to your order and they'll ship, with your combo. So your DIY combo is just harnesses. Your DIY kit is going to bring one of these dash kits with it. So most of the time people go with a double DIN 2004, 2005, 2006, so it comes with these 2 connectors. And then I recommend the parking bypass because it's going to allow you to get into those settings without having to hook up the parking brake. So all this stuff ships at once, comes in a box straight to your door. We ship USPS priority mail, so you will get a tracking number. Sometimes they end up in your spam or junk folder, so just double check those. So you'll get an order confirmation message as soon as you pay. If you put in your email wrong, obviously you're not going to get it, but as soon as you check out, you will get an order confirmation email. Then after that, when your order is shipped, usually next day, you will get an order complete email. And that order complete email will be your tracking information so you can track your package. Again, we ship via USPS priority mail. So you do get a tracking number. It's usually 2 to 3 business days to most places. They've been having some issue lately with everything that's going on, but that's normally people get their packages in 2 to 3 days. So we talked about the DIY kit. We talked about the DIY combo. Now I want to talk to you about the complete kit. So this is very convenient and it makes installation really easy. What the complete kit includes is going to be one of these plug and play harnesses for whatever year, or custom harness, whatever radio you put in the selection menu, harness complete plug and play. Then it's also going to include one of these dash kits, whether you pick a double DIN or a single DIN. And then it's going to include your steering wheel control adapter. Now the steering wheel control adapter, like I mentioned before, is the ASWC1. Metro has rebranded and now it's referring it to the AXSWC, but it's the same module, basically the same product, just different packaging. So you'll get the little guy. All you're going to do when you go to install this is you're going to plug it right in, and then it's going to start flashing. You're going to hold the volume up and it's just going to program itself. So this is reprogrammable to different options. You can do it via the manual programming mode, or it actually has a USB, micro USB port. Okay, it actually has a micro USB port on the device. So if you get a micro USB cable, it's not included with the product. If you get one, you can plug it into your computer and actually configure it via some of their software on their website so that you can map the functions to what you want. But your complete kit is really just going to save you time, trouble, and money, because everything comes in one place. You don't need to shop anywhere else. You just need to find a radio. Now, with that said, we often pair our complete kit with different radios. Right now, it's been a real tough time because the way the economy has shifted and everything that has occurred has left manufacturers who sell head units, radios, Pioneer, Alpine, Kenwood, really back ordered with their supply. So a lot of manufacturers are having trouble keeping up with the demand. So that means that currently we don't have any radios in stock to sell. We just have the accessories. But all right, guys, now that we talked about those solutions for adding an aftermarket radio to your vehicle, the next obstacle that we heard from our customers was, how do I add an aftermarket amp to my car? So adding subs to your car, pretty easy. Line out converter, unplug the factory sub, splice into that factory sub lead, line out converter right there, ground it, and now you have a set of RCA signals coming out to your amp, and you just need to figure out a remote turn on if you're going to run to the front or whatever you're going to do. Or sometimes the line out converters come with a remote turn on out, so that's not really too hard adding subs. Replacing the entire, replacing the factory amplifier is a little bit challenging, a little bit tricky, but I think we came up with a pretty good solution. So your factory amplifier is going to have these two connections. This is going to be audio in, So this is the low level signal from the factory radio to your amp. So in here it's going to feed all those signals, you know, amplify the signal, and then out of this connection comes all the sound, and it goes to all of your speakers. So each one of these is a pair to your factory speakers, your front speakers, so your front left, front right, rear left, rear right, and then your subwoofer and your center channel. Factory amplifier does a pretty good job for what it is. I mean, look how small it is. But oftentimes people want to replace it. So you know, these two connections were a little tricky to track down and have manufactured.
Please state your command.
These connectors were a little tricky to find and have manufactured, but we've managed to come up with a solution which will allow you to use the factory radio if you wanted to, and not an aftermarket radio. So this connection would plug into here. So here is all your signal in from the factory radio or your aftermarket radio. So these also work with our kits. So if you were to install an aftermarket radio into the factory location and purchase this after the fact, you would still have a low level signal here and be able to feed it to an amplifier. So this again will work with an aftermarket radio or a factory radio. So it'll allow you to plug into the factory location, receive that audio signal in, and also an amp turn on, so you can extend this wire to run into your amp and then extend these RCAs to run into your amp. And these RCAs are actually male, but they come with female adapters. So it's up to you. You can use this RCAs. If this isn't, if you'd rather run your own RCAs from the back of the radio, you're also, if you have an aftermarket radio, you're also able to do that. So after receiving the signal in, you need a way to send the signal out. So this would run down to your amp, and then this cable would run back to this connector. So here is over 17 feet of speaker cable, which is paired in 6 pairs, I believe, right? Which is paired in 6 pairs. So this connector is the one that leads to all your factory speakers. So your front left, front right, rear left, sub and center. Know that your tweeters are actually crossed over on a connection underneath the dash. So it's not 2, you know, for your front doors, there's not 4 pairs, it's only 2. So this is going to connect to this location. Maybe not, no. This is going to connect to this location and then give you 17 feet of wire to run to your amplifier's audio out. This is a relatively new product. We have a DIY video coming up on it, but I just wanted to mention it because a lot of people ask how can they bypass their factory amp, and ultimately this is what this allows you to do. If you wanted to just run your stereo with no amplifier, this would allow you to do so also. We have our RCAs added here, so you can cut this and wire it directly to these wires to allow you to make a complete bypass. Why you want to do that, but if you did want to, it is a possibility. Again, you just have to cut some wires and wire it together. But I want to just grab an amp. Alright guys, I got another amp here just to kind of demonstrate, because sometimes it's a little confusing without you being able to envision it. So we're going to pretend that these are longer RCAs, or we're going to mount this amp right. So here is our inputs. So we're going to match all of these. Coming from your factory radio or aftermarket radio would be the low level signal that would hook into here. You would extend this wire to go to your amp turn on this side, and then this wire has unterminated ends on this side. So this side would go to the speaker out connections of your amplifier and provide signal to this connector. This connector would then mate with this one, and here would go all the audio signal to your factory speakers. Now, there's really not a great way to tell when you need to run new speaker wire. I say above 80 watts RMS to every speaker is when you should do it. But most amps are going to do about 50 to 40 channels RMS to your actual door speakers. So for that, I wouldn't necessarily upgrade the wiring and run new wiring to each speaker. If you're doing a relatively small upgrade, you can keep the factory wiring. But if you are going to do a bigger upgrade and you're going to make your car loud, then I would run new wiring, and this really wouldn't be beneficial to you. Alright guys, I know we covered a ton of products here today, and this is, you know, kind of the these are our most popular products, and that's why I wanted to make a video about them, because there's still a lot of confusion around installing aftermarket radio for your car. Our DIY video does a pretty good job of explaining it, but it's really how to do it. This is what you can do if you're looking for audio solutions for your Acura TL. And again, I just want to remind everybody that if you have a 2004 to a 2006, your radio is going to look like this one. So it's going to have these connections where it's going to be the thicker 26-pin gray plug that plugs into here, and then you're going to have your 20-pin that plugs into here, and then this connection is for your XM. I don't have one right now, but again, this is 2004, 2005, 2006. Sometimes I don't know if people don't know their year of their car or how this happens, but they will claim that they have a 2007 Acura TL, but the radio will still have these connections in them. I've seen it happen 2 or 3 times now. I'm not sure what the explanation is. Maybe that's when they just rolled over production, so they didn't switch out the interior electronics, but who really knows? And now if you have an 07, 08, your connections are gonna look like so. So you're gonna have that 40-pin. You're still gonna share the same 20-pin connector with almost the same identical pinning. And then you're gonna have your XM and your antenna. But everything else is pretty identical. For your climate controls, this connection does change. This one has navigation. Normally it's just this connector. This connection adds another one, but they both change. So these units aren't directly swappable. Please don't let people try to sell you something that's not for your car. So these amps are interchangeable for the years of your Acura TL. So if you got an 08 amp and you throw it in your 2004, it will work. I've heard people say that the 2007, 2008 amps are a little bit boomier, and the part numbers are different and the electronics might be a little different, but the connectors are the same and they will work your factory speakers. So if you have an issue with your factory amp, you can replace it with another factory amp of any year TL, really. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope these products are useful. I know customers on our Trustpilot have said over and over again how we've saved them time and money from, you know, they went to some shop, they asked them for $1,500. The shop told them, gave them a quote of $1,500. That scared them away. They started looking online and found us. They were able to get a radio installed for less than half of that. So I'm gonna ask that you give the video a like and subscribe. We're always working on different products. Right now in the lab we have a product for a plug and play amp upgrade for your Acura TL with a sub upgrade. So you're gonna take out that back seat, switch the sub out, plug in a new amp, and get way better sound with your factory speakers. That's still in beta. We haven't fully finished it yet. And then, like I mentioned before, we have some conversion products going on, guys. So stay subscribed, stay tuned, check our store. We always have different deals, different radios going on. But again, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you give it a like and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.